With JOJOLands being just a few days away, Shueisha and Araki have been promoting the absolute crap out of JOJO. And there's a lot of new promo art I want to look at because we've got a lot of characters and I think some insights into the main JOJO that I think are really interesting. So to promote the series as a whole, Araki did this really cool mural that showed characters from parts 1 all the way to part 9, which obviously is showcasing a lot more characters than just our protagonist. We seem to have a female JoBro at the head once again, just like Yasuo, so I cannot wait to see how they pan out because Yasuo was absolutely fantastic, and we got a bunch of other characters in the background that I think look pretty interesting, like that weird looking dude on the right in a sort of onesie morph suit thing, the cowboy looking guy in the back with chains, and specifically the one I think is the most interesting to me is the guy on top with a hat, because if this is going to be a part 6 inversion or parallel, knowing a character has a hat specifically looking like that makes me think they're going to be pretty important. Maybe an Emporio-esque character in this part. I don't know. Has a lot of potential in my opinion. We get some more of the tropical scenery that we've become slightly used to from the promotional material, but the cowboy looking character makes me think about some things. Is that possibly going to be some sort of rival to the main character? Because obviously the goal of the main character is to somehow get rich from these lands. Is that possibly going to be a darkened version of our main character, since Americans, obviously, are very stereotypically depicted with cowboy-esque attire? Could this be some sort of American trying to make money from the tropical islands as well? I don't know. I think that could be pretty interesting. A minor thing that has me pretty intrigued is the fact that we have some surfers in the background. Now obviously this might seem pretty obvious because it's on a tropical island. People are probably surfing because that's just one of the things that's possible and very mainstream to do in tropical islands. However, Araki has really tried to push this idea of surfing in part 8 with the idea of being a man of the land or a man of the sea. Is that possibly going to play into our main character as well? Since it seems like they're going to be traveling from island to island, yet the part is called JOJOLands. Obviously I might be overthinking it and really hyper analyzing something that's not really there. It's just a nice background detail. But as we know from part 8, looking in the background for very meticulous specific things tends to be pretty important, especially when your main villain is something like that, a background figure. The same could even be said for part 5, which obviously has Diavolo in the shadows for a lot of the part. And I don't know, with this character in my opinion being a Giorno inversion, especially so with the new artwork we got of their face straight at the camera, I think it's definitely possible. So there's a lot here in my opinion that I'm really excited to see. But again, I'm personally the most excited for our main character, the female JoBro appearing once again, and the dude with the hat on the top. I think the dude with the hat, he really has potential, especially because he looks kind of distressed. Again, Emporio, that's like his major expression throughout the part. And he even looks like he's wearing a kind of Letterman jacket, which obviously isn't a baseball uniform, but it is a sports related outfit. I don't know, just some food for thought right there. The thing I'm the most interested, at least right now, on a baseline is how the main character and this female JoBro are going to meet. Is it going to be something immediately like in chapter 1 of JOJOLion, where Yasuo is shown first before even Josuke? I think that could be pretty cool, but personally, I'm leaning towards the idea of her being a sort of guide figure for the area that they're traveling in, because look, she has a flower in her hair, and that's obviously a very stereotypical tropical island aesthetic. Maybe that's sort of playing into her role in the part. I don't know. That's just me obviously speculating, but Araki does put a lot of effort into his designs, which is a perfect segue into talking about the main Joestar of the part. So there are a few things of note that I really think are interesting to make notice of when it comes to the new Joestar design, now that we're seeing it from a straight-on perspective. And especially so is the hair. Now, a lot of people have speculated that this could either be a Giorno or Jolene alternate universe version, and I'm pretty much leaning on Giorno 100% at this point because of the way the hair is segmented into 3 distinct sections, very similar to Giorno with the 3 donut rings on top of his head. So I think that could definitely be something that it is alluding to for sure, besides the whole thing where it's a sort of goal of getting money and power, and I talk about it in this video right here, so check it out if you're interested. But another thing that really has me intrigued is the idea that this character has a sort of rain aesthetic going on with them, with a hooded jacket and with the word November being written on their collar. Now, obviously, this could have some insight into the stand, and I personally believe it's going to be November Rain, which is a popular rock song. I mean, it makes sense. And I think it would be a cool way to possibly allude to the idea of it being a tropical themed location, with monsoons being a major thing. And monsoons obviously could be more representative of this character as a whole, a massive change in the environment that causes things to shift possibly forever. And I think this could be very true, with the goal of the main character being to become a millionaire, which is a very big goal. I'm just waiting for the actual reveal of it, because I'm personally sold on the November Rain thing, even though it's probably something a lot of other people picked up on as well. Now, another thing I want to bring up is the actual color design of the character on this artwork, and obviously, this might not be the canon design of the outfit. Josuke was shown in orange at first, but clearly Josuke is wearing a white and blue outfit from what we've seen in JOJOLands. So obviously, the color palette might shift as the part continues. Araki's been doing this for such a long time that nothing really surprises me anymore when it comes to it. So the character might have blonde hair, like a lot of us predict, but the gray hair I think is especially interesting, because it makes it seem as though they are essentially a base to be built upon with all the colorful clothes that they have in their outfit. And basically, it makes me think about this part being a sort of journey where our character starts out as sort of a baseline, a blank slate if you will, and gets built upon more and more and more the more people he meets, and that's fitting because the goal is literally for him to grow and become richer and richer and richer. So I think there could actually be something there. Another thing I want to bring up immediately to further the parallels to Giorno is the fact that they have a heart right in the middle of their chest. Now obviously it's not an open space like Giorno, but the fact that it's in that exact same location is pretty interesting in my opinion. It also has wings around the heart. Wings were a big theme of Giorno as well, with them being considered very angelic and holy, obviously, because Diavolo was the devil. So there's definitely, I think, something there to further the Giorno agenda, I guess. As much as I would love, it to be a Jolene parallel. Jolene, I think, is absolutely amazing, and Giorno is not that, in my opinion. I do think it's much more likely that it's a Giorno parallel, especially with the goal, as I've been saying over and over again. I guess the two things that have me the most intrigued about the design immediately are the hood and the fact that there's a weird strap around their chest. Now, this could obviously have something to do with their stand ability, which we obviously know nothing about yet, but if it is some rain type ability, maybe some ability to manipulate water of some kind, sort of like weather report, maybe it's sort of a life jacket that's built in, and obviously life jackets have straps on the front, and it's a tropical island theme location, so that could be something there. But as I said, the hood is also really intriguing. The hood could obviously have a lot of symbolic meaning behind it. Maybe they have their hood so they can run away from something, so they can hide themselves from the world. Or obviously it could relate to the stand, but I feel like there might be something more to it, because Araki tends to have very specific aspects of design that sort of highlight characters' pasts, and I think this could be really, really interesting to learn about. It would be very interesting if our Joestar is trying to become so rich and famous and wealthy because they're running away from something and trying to have this sense of escapism, essentially trying to forge their own lands because they had to run away from their past. I don't know. It could be pretty interesting in my opinion, but I'm not entirely sold on it, because if this character's trying to become a millionaire, maybe they already have some wealthy background. But if that's the case, maybe they're running away from it in order to try and become some independent thing. And if they have a wealthy background, that could possibly, I'm going to have a huge air quotes, possibly, go back to the idea that I had of this going all the way back to the Joestar Mansion. Maybe this character even builds the Joestar Mansion in this alternate universe, since we know they're descendant of Joseph. But that's all my immediate thoughts on the JOJOLands promotional art that we got over the past few days. I'm curious, what do you think about my idea of the main character's stand, their design now that we're seeing it from the face forward, and the many other characters Araki has shown off in this new art, and which one makes you the most intrigued? That's been me, and I hope you enjoyed this video.